Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. This is your Brighton Hove Albion review, and I'm afraid to report it's West Ham 0, Brighton Hove Albion 3 at our stadium, at the London Stadium. Now, you've got three pretty unhappy hammers. I've tried not to talk to the fellas just before here, so what you're getting is going to be fresh, it's going to be reactions, but it is a review, so we've got to go through it in sequential order. So today I'm joined by two guests who are making their debuts, and what a time to make your debuts. They couldn't get a barnstorming victory. We've got, well, my children call him Grandad, I call him Dad, my mum calls him something else. You on the forum will know him as the guy that does the prediction league. It's Dorset Dano. And we have also got somebody who features regularly on our second channel. The link is below. He's always on your shout. He resides in Cornwall. He's an expat residing in Cornwall. His name's Ian, but you'll know him on Twitter as Mr B. Now, welcome, gentlemen, and I'm sorry to introduce you in such circumstances. Let's cut straight to the chase. We'll deal with it in sequential order, as I said. 9 minutes in, Pedro Obiang concedes a free kick, and from the resulting free kick, Glenn Murray drifted in between Antonio and Reed, it looked like from my eyes, and scored a goal. Ian, welcome to Talk a Good Game. What was your take on it, mate?
Yeah, pretty much as you say, really, Chris. It was, again, poor defending. They kind of went to sleep, and even though Reed tried to cover around the back, he just drifted in between Obiang and Antonio. I think it was, who had his back to him. But they kind of watched the ball go over his head, and decent header, bang, straight in. I mean, I think one thing I would say as well, actually fair play to Brighton, because they play really well. That was a well taken, well executed free kick, and we kind of got what we deserved.
Dano, avoidable?
Absolutely avoidable. The free kick was unnecessary. The defending was shockingly poor. I mean, Antonio was about a yard in front of Murray. Murray didn't do a soaring header. He hardly got off the ground. Antonio just sort of looked at it instead of challenging for the ball. I mean, even if he hadn't have got it, if he'd got up, he might have got in sort of Murray's eyesight and put him off or whatever. And Obiang, you know, Murray didn't have any pace, but he still managed to slip Obiang. It was awful. Absolutely awful.
Well, I do believe that Murray was only in the team because of an injury. I mean, we are dealing with, I remember him at Crystal Palace, we are dealing with a journeyman pro, really, and, well, the night was about to get a lot better.
He's a journeyman pro who's got 2 goals against us in 2 of his last 3 games.
Well, there you go. That's why you're involved. We like those sort of stats. Anyway, after that, we surely thought things were going to get better. Well, I've written down some notes. I've taken down some notes. I'm going to be honest with you. I stopped taking at some point during the game because it just turned into an early sort of Halloween horror show. I've got 20 minutes in. There's a corner from Lanzini. Reed fired wide. Antonio created a chance for Arnie from the resulting corner. Lanzini had a chance which went over. At that point, I believe I seem to remember Obiang having a shot, but it was really our only effort on target at that point, which took us up to about 35 minutes. But it was quite a long shot. I didn't really threaten the keeper, but we seemed to come back into the game, and I thought Antonio in particular was starting to look really good. And Lanzini, I mean, I wrote down here that he basically started to run the game, but a big spell of pressure from us. Anyway, Kiate was pushed up front with Hernandez, and he basically nearly got a goal. Hernandez did a great block from Duffy. Dano, did you think at that point, were you confident we'd get back into the game?
I'm always confident because I'm an optimist. One of the problems I felt was that Lanzini was playing too deep and he wasn't in the areas where he could actually really make a difference. He had lots of energy today, which was great, and he passed well. But to me, he was playing in the wrong area. We seem to be playing 4-3-3 instead of playing the advertised 4-2-3-1 with him at the front of the diamond, effectively. He was too far back. Most of the time that he picked the ball up, I thought in that period when we looked pretty good, he was picking the ball up in our area, you know, and quite often he was just in front of the centre halves. I don't want to see him there. I want to see him, you know, near to their area and organising things there. But we looked quite good. We got into good positions, but the final ball far too often was awful, particularly from Masuaku. Masuaku got into quite a few good crossing positions, and the final ball was absolute pants.
Yeah, it did seem to be that way. Ian, as I said, he did push Kiate. It seemed to be he was playing Kiate at centre forward. It seemed like he couldn't resist these sort of big man up front. So he sort of shoehorned a player who many believe is better at centre back, who obviously plays in midfield, for shoehorned him alongside Hernandez. Did you think that was the right thing, Ian?
No, I mean, it smacked of desperation after sort of 35, 40 minutes when he did it. I mean, the things from the first half that I noted that I thought were a bit bizarre, I think probably on paper, 90%, maybe 80, 90% of people would have, if they could have drawn the team up at the start of the season, at the starting 11 they would have wanted, that would have been pretty much it. And we've been crying out for Masuaku to start, which he did. And it took him 30-odd minutes before he actually went down on an overlap and put a ball in. He was playing just purely a defensive game. There was no attack going on at all. Like Dan said, Lanzini, the amount of times he was going back to Font to pick the ball up, he's not going to hurt anybody there. I mean, that was woeful. Antonio, I don't know if he's picked an injury up or something with his ribs when he went down. He had that. He was out of the frame for 2 or 3 minutes because he was, I think, totally ineffective after that. But I just don't think, again, it just strikes me as kind of game plan and the way they're set up. And I don't think Bilic kind of had an idea. And it was, okay, well, let's look for something else. I'll stick a big man up there and see what that does. But there's just no system. There's nothing. You know, Brighton played as a team. I mean, before I had named 1 or 2 Brighton players, but, you know, defensively they were good. 2 banks of 4, really, really tight. And we're trying to plough our way through them. There's no intricate passing. It was woeful. And probably unlike Dan, I'm the eternal pessimist. When they went 1 down, I just couldn't see us getting back into it, even with sustained pressure for the last sort of 10, 15 minutes.
Well, you talk about knowing the names of some Brighton players. I'm going to have a go at one now, actually, which I'm not particularly confident about, because at the 45th minute, Hernandez had a shot which went wide. Then in injury time, 41, 42 minutes. Is he Ocado? Is he Ocado? Is he Akido? Whatever his name is, he skipped past Obiang, again, who was sort of involved. I don't like to pick on him, but he was involved again. And he called an absolute peach past Joe Hart. We're from the edge of the 18-yard box. I'm pretty sure it'll be getting on the goals of the month or whatever they do on the BBC. Dano, let's have your views on that goal.
Well, sometimes you have to applaud the forward for having a go and making the move, but I think you're right. I think Obiang today had a pretty poor game. To me, Lanzini kept coming back because Obiang wasn't really doing his job. His job is to be the link man and bring the ball out, as well as to sort of break play down. And he just wasn't really doing either job. And he didn't get close enough to the guy, didn't block him off. And it was a really good finish. Hart almost kept it out. You know, they seem to be saying on the television that Hart was to blame, but I think, to be honest, because of the position he was in and the way he hit it, I'm not sure that Hart could have done much about it, to be honest.
Yeah, he did come in for a little bit of criticism. I don't want to drill too much into the fine detail of the game now, because we all know what happened, and I think there's some bigger issues to be discussed. But anyway, from my own point of view, I thought in the second half, that's the point where you think, well, that's a sucker punch, isn't it? Just before half time, the last time you want to concede for the opposition, the best time for them to score. But a manager's going to earn his corn then, and that's when the rallying cry comes. That's when you want the big speech and the big tactical change. Well, obviously we weren't in the dressing room, so we weren't privy to whether there was a big speech or not, but a tactical change was Andre Ayew for Cheku Kiate, who he was going to put up front, which actually, so we had Hernandez on the right of two strikers, Ayew just off him a little bit on the left, which put Ayew, our second ever record signing, next to our record signing, Arnautovic. So the two combined players are £45 million sterling next to each other. Ian, just quickly, it's a rhetorical question. Did that have the impact that you wanted it to?
Arnautovic was playing, was he?
He did, evidently, yeah.
Oh, well, no, we didn't. Again, we just have got there's no shape. I couldn't tell you at the end of that what system we were playing. You know, he seems to be changing systems mid-game, but there's just there's no tactical awareness there at all. And you know, I come on and he ran around a bit, but again, we still didn't look threatening. We just don't play as a team. And you know, as I said on the TV, Carragher said, which is absolutely right, in there that are playing as a team, and you've got one lot that are playing as 11 men. And there's no, I don't think there's any thought out tweaks to the way we play. I think it's just moving people out of desperation. Yeah, well, in between that and what we're going to talk about, which is the third goal, that's it, by the way, folks. It doesn't, you know, there's only three. Lanzini, I thought played quite well as an individual. He tried what he did, but without us ever really threatening to get back into the game. It has to say that he played well in pockets. He had a free kick which just went wide. But despite his display of cunning and skill, and Anthony Knockhart, he decided to do an impression of Maradona or as for the old boy, or Lionel Messi, should we say, skip past a load of people from the resulting corner. Zabaleta, I was going to say side, it wasn't really a side. Zabaleta conceded a penalty to that man, Murray. Murray sticks away the penalty. It's 3-0. I think that was I did actually write it down. It says 73 minutes. Just before that, you could hear a pin drop in that stadium. I've had a few texts. A few people have been saying the atmosphere in the stadium was toxic. The Brighton fans were singing, "Can we play you every week?" I'm sure everyone would love to play us every week at the moment. And they were doing the olays every time they passed the ball to one another, which well, you can't really blame them for doing, really, can you? So anyway, so that's that. It's 3-0. Let's get to the bigger picture. Just before the game, for those of you who don't know, David Sullivan in an interview said, "Whatever happens, Bilic is getting his 3 years. Bilic is staying to the end of the season." Echoes of the Avram Grant statement, I felt. We'll go back to you, Ian. Where does Slav go from here? What's the bigger picture here? Are we overreacting to this being one game, do you think? It's not one game, though, Chris, is it? This is a follow-on from last season, and we're just not getting it. All right, one game against Tottenham, which you could say was a bit of a highlight last season, but that's it. And the rest of it is just the same old dross week in, week out. And you know, there is nothing that I see about the way we play with the players that we've got that makes me think we're going to get any better. And I really worry if Bilic stays in charge when we get against the likes of Man City. And people like that, we're going to get shredded. I mean, it's I can't see where we go, not with that man in charge. And I'm probably one of the major protagonists of the Bilic out brigade. But I really don't see how he's going to take us forward. And the next couple of games coming up, we've got Palace away. Obviously, they've turned Chelsea over. An old war is starting to obviously get them organised. That's not going to be easy because they'll fight. They'll fight. I don't see too many fighters in our side. And then we've got Liverpool coming to us. And again, manager who gets his teams playing. And I sort of I fear for our immediate future. If it was me, I'm afraid he'd be gone. But
you wouldn't wait. You wouldn't wait to the next game. You wouldn't give him Tottenham. Wouldn't give him Palace against old boy.
No, I'd put a temporary guy in charge. If we could get somebody in, if they've got somebody lined up in before Tottenham, I know it's never going to happen. But in an ideal world, in utopia, get him out. Somebody else in just to oversee it for that one game, and then get him in for the next game. You've got to draw a line, and I think drawing a line at the end of the season could be too late.
Dano, the man that took me to my first ever West Ham game, the man responsible for my current misery, would What you've always been a balanced, you've been balanced on the situation, never too reactive. Is it too late? Can he turn it round?
I'm beginning to wonder, can he? And I still support him, but I do worry, and I worry really about the attitude of the players. To be honest, I think there was a very telling moment towards the end of the game when Reed broke up an attack, and he sort of started storm forward, and I was looking for all the West Ham players, or at least some of them, to sort of charge along with him, but we just didn't seem to know what to do. Whereas in a similar situation, when Brighton broke up a West Ham attack, there was like 4 or 5 of their players, and they were all moving in different directions. Everybody seemed to know what they were doing, and they looked a threat. And Brighton aren't the greatest team in the world. Some of his decisions are bizarre, and Ian alluded to it earlier. You know, how Arnautovic stayed on the pitch after his performance in the first half was beyond me. Admittedly, we seem to be obsessed in the first half with attacking down the right-hand side, but and that may be one of the reasons why Masuaku didn't do too many breaks down the left-hand side. But Arnautovic was just not in the game. He was lethargic. He was absolutely piss awful, and how he wasn't taken off at half time, I'll never understand. And the second half, he was just as bad. He did nothing the entire game. I'm not going to level the whole defeat against him, but Bilic should have done something about his performance today at some point. And personally, I would have definitely tugged him at half time.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't watch much of, I don't watch much of the other teams. But when we were signing, people were saying he's good. A couple of people said he's like a poor man's Ibrahimovic. Well, yeah, I'm like poor man's Ibrahimovic, like a skint man's. It's like Ibrahimovic, like a CCJ's and a flaming default Ibrahimovic. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what they saw in him. I just think it begs the bigger picture of who is signing our record signings, because Bilic's going to get a lot of stick, and I agree. I totally and utterly agree. But I think there's a bigger picture here, because obviously the owners want to take all the credit when a signing goes well. Oh, it's the owners, or it's Tony Henry. When a signing is crap, oh, it's Bilic. But our record signings, and you look at IU and you look at Arnautovic, £45 million, like I said earlier, but it stems a little bit further than that. Look at Valencia, wasn't Carroll our record signing? We've got Matt Jarvis, wasn't he at one point our record signing? It seems like we can get the £5 million signings right. But the big ones we seem to struggle with, and I also do worry about this, how he's painted himself into a corner just before the game. I don't know why he did the interview, Sullivan. He just should have not done the interview at all. He painted himself in a corner by saying he will not get rid of Bilic. Well, what are players like Antonio and Lanzini going to do, who blatantly, all right, I know what Ian said, because once he got injured, he didn't look quite as good, but he looked a real threat before he got injured, and he almost looked too good for the current West Ham team, and they look like they could play for somebody else. They're not going to stick around with an empty stadium that's quiet, with a manager that can't galvanise a team, that can't put together a tactical plan, and maybe with a set of owners that can't actually supplement the squad with any decent players, even though they've got, they'll spend 20 million here, 25 million pound there. Sorry, Dano, what were you going to say?
Well, Sullivan can't help himself, can he? The chance to be on Sky for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes with Gary Neville, he doesn't turn that sort of opportunity down, and neither does Gold. So, and that's never going to change. But Arnautovic was absolutely cacked today, and something should have been done about it. It wasn't. I don't think Chiarte was particularly effective in the first half, but to be honest, Obiang, of the 2 defensive midfield players, Obiang was worse. And if we were going to go after the game, why didn't we go to 3 at the back? I don't understand it. Hernandez today, I thought, was really unlucky. He got 4 or 5 shots off today. Every single one got blocked, and to me, all of them looked like they were on target. So it just wasn't his lucky day. But it was very, very depressing.
Yeah, it was. It was.
think-
Ian, mate, I'm going to pass it over to you. We'll start wrapping it up now. We got lots of people viewing. For those of you in the group chat, thanks for joining. I'm afraid I don't have it up at the moment. Poor old Gio's gone to the game. He's because these things have an impact as well. When they move these games to Friday night, Saturday night, Gio normally gets the coach down. It doesn't cost quite as much money. He just get the train down because of Friday, because he can't do that on a Saturday. He's walking out that stadium. And that's a horrible journey. You walk that horrible long walk from the stadium down to the station when you've been thumped by a team that came second in the championship. It's just nasty. Ian, what would you do with Hernandez? What would you do to try and get us functioning better? Is there anyone you'd pull out of that team? Anything you'd have done better?
I don't know whether they've Bilic has actually lost the dressing room now, but it comes from the top, and it'd be very interesting if you got a different manager in with that group of players to see what they could do with them, because I am pretty damn certain that if you've got somebody with the right kind of motivational manager, we could do really, really good things with that team. And you've got those four up the front there with today, theoretically, obviously with Lanzini, Antonio, etc. Beforehand, you're sort of sitting there thinking this has got the potential to have lovely little bit of interactions of play, movement, and a team that's sort of set up where they're very hard to defend against because they're all over the show. But again, we don't do that. They look tired again at the end of the game. They look really, really, really leggy. Okay, maybe they'd given up and they were just looking forward to training on Monday or whatever. But I just don't know where we go at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a long weekend for us West Ham fans. That we start the weekend with a hangover, don't we? And it's not even booze induced, that's for sure. Lads, I'm not going to do man of the match. I know it's a tradition. I know Gio normally does it, but I would feel like a fraud if I did a man of the match after us getting. I mean, we weren't unlucky, were we? We did get beaten by the better team. Now, bearing in mind, you guys are not going to be with us for the preview, so I'll ask you a different question. We'll start with you, Ian. Can we beat Tottenham?
No.
Oh, crikey. There we go. No, I mean, thank you very much.
I think they'll put up a fight because it is Tottenham. But I just can't. I'd love to see us progress in the cup, but I just with the best will in the world. Maybe it's my glass half empty side coming out again, but I just can't see it. I think we'll be out next round. Yeah.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I'll give you one. Just a quick answer from you. Do you think we'll lose to Tottenham, lose to Palace, and lose? What comes first, Leicester or Liverpool?
Liverpool, I think.
Yeah. So, do you think we'll lose to? Do you think we'll lose those 3 games?
I think we might, if we're lucky, we might scrape a point against Palace if we're lucky. But I can actually see, no defeats in those 3 games.
Okay.
No victories in those 3 games.
Yeah. Dano, do you think we'll beat Tottenham?
I think we'll spank Tottenham.
What's she doing?
No, I'll tell you why. Tottenham are playing Liverpool on Sunday. They've then got, I think, Man United the following weekend, and then they've got Real Madrid the following week. They are going to field a team of youngsters against us next Wednesday. And, I would hope that Bilic will be able to motivate the team and maybe our luck will turn, because today we didn't make much luck and we did play badly, and fair play to Brighton, they played well. But, sometimes your luck needs to turn, and I think this could be the game that turns us.
Well, ever the optimist. You've always been the same. But I'll tell you this much now: when he brought Ayew on, they were still lumping balls into their box, crossing it. It was still with those 2 lumps of centre backs who kept on heading it and clearing it all day. The tactics really changed from that. I'll tell you what, talk about Arnautovic. You talk about Tottenham going to play the youngsters. We've got youngsters in our under 23s who are better than some of them players on the pitch today. Regular watchers of the show will know what we think about that. So I'm not going to.
That's the same thing about today to me. You looked at that bench today, and the only attacking option he had was Ayew. He didn't have Martinez on there. He didn't have Samuelson there. He didn't have who's the guy we got from
Holland.
He didn't have Holland on there. We really didn't have options, and that was really short-sighted in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, funny, you said Holiday can deliver a ball. We've seen that.
Exactly.
We've seen that this week. You know, he can consistently deliver that ball, and it's a clever one as well. You know what I mean? So anyway, do you know what, fellas? I think we're done. But I'll tell you what we will do for those of you. Well, first of all, before we do, Lanzini played well today. Lanzini played very well. I thought. Yeah, and he was our best player. And as a little crafty link, we have got a signed Manuel Lanzini shirt to give away. I don't actually have it with me because Gio's got it. He's been wearing it to bed with his He's got some Antonio pants as well and some Joe Hart socks. But anyway, we've got that. We're going to give it away. And all you got to do is be subscribed to this channel. This is the main Hammers Chat channel. And then underneath, any one of our videos, any one of our recent videos, tell us your favourite Manuel Lanzini moment, but it probably won't be from today's game, if I'm honest. In terms of the debate of what's going on, we've got an awful lot of videos coming up, but we have a second channel. It's called the Hammers Chat Forum channel. The link is below. Ian is on it all the time, whinging and grumbling and moaning. But to be fair, I think he's quite right. We've got Mike on Monday there. We've got Canning Town Len, we do Your Shout, we've got a Blowing Bubble special. I mean, this is looking quite apt, isn't it? This is actually last month's edition. We've got a Blowing Bubble special coming up. Join us on there, send in your comments, send in your videos, and we'll feature you on the channel as well. Big thank you to our partners, Aspers Casino. I think that's about it. I'm going to go and drown my sorrows, and I'm going to watch some boxing. If anyone likes boxing, there's some boxing on Dave's channel. It's free. We probably need perking up after that. Some good fighters. Get switched on to Dave's channel. Watch the boxing. I don't know. I've got to forget about it. Ian, thank you for joining us, my friend.
No worries. Nice to be on it.
Yeah. Dano, thank you. Thank you again for helping us out at short notice and for your fantastic debut and for running down from the cricket club where I know you've been watching the game.
I took the car.
You could have said that. You could have milked it. Anyway. Thank you very much. See you next time. Don't worry about it too much. I'm sure things will get better against Tottenham. Ian doesn't know.